What's it like to be in a May-December romance? I'm 10 years older than my wife. When she turned 30, I was already 40. She used to be passionate and sincere. She once said, "Age will never be a problem between us," but later, she told her best friend. Once George hit 40, I felt disgusted every time he touched me. If it weren't for the money, I would have left him long ago. It'd be perfect if he just gave me the money and never came home. And then, she actually used my money to keep a young guy outside. However, when she thought she had everything under control, playing her little game of having her cake and eating it too, I handed her the divorce papers and took back everything I'd given her. I said, "There's actually one special advantage of a May-December romance. Once you've had enough, it's easy to let go." Chapter 01. Sometimes, when bad luck is about to strike, people can sense it coming. Willow was in the shower when her phone rang. It was a local number. No caller ID. I answered it. I said, "Hello," twice, then asked, "Who is this?" There was no sound on the other end, just silence. Then the call ended. Only a few seconds of quiet, but it felt like a strange kind of understanding. The person on the other side knew who I was, and I could already sense that something wasn't right, so I unlocked Willow's phone. I used that number to search for the person on her social app. It was a man. His profile picture was a black and white anime image. Username, mute, no notes, and his chat notifications were set to do not disturb. Their chat window was almost empty. Just one unread message, "I miss you." That single line made my heart tighten instantly. I thought, most likely, Willow was cheating. My hand holding the phone suddenly felt weak and shaky. I opened the man's social feed. His cover photo seemed to be himself, a clean-cut young man with short hair and a scholarly look. I didn't look closely. I just took out my own phone and snapped a photo. He had quite a few posts. I scrolled quickly until one made me stop. The caption read, "What women care about has never been material things, but your attitude." Below it was a screenshot, a chat between him and Willow. Willow's contact name, Runaway Queen. He had said to her, "Sister, this is all I've got left. I'm sending it all to you." It was a money transfer, 52.10 yuan. Willow didn't accept it. She returned it. She replied, "What are you saying? You're just a broke student. Why would you send me money? I'm not after that. Don't starve yourself." "Okay." Then Willow sent him 5,200 yuan. He accepted it. I kept my face blank and took a photo of the screen. After exiting his feed, I immediately opened Willow's transaction records. I checked every transfer between them. Sure enough, one after another. Endless. The most consistent ones were the monthly transfers of 50,000 yuan on the 6th of each month. Exactly one day after I wired Willow her monthly allowance from my paycheck. It had gone on for 3 months. Aside from that, hundreds, thousands, little amounts everywhere. Even transfers with special numbers. I took photos of every single one. The whole time, I stayed calm. When I exited, I even remembered to mark their chat window as unread. Chapter 02. What's wrong? "Honey, why are you spacing out?" Willow came out of the bathroom, towel drying her hair as she tilted her head and looked at me curiously. I came back to my senses. I looked up at Willow. She was wearing only a thin bath towel, her waist slim, legs long, curves flawless. Willow had always kept her figure perfectly. People used to envy me for it, saying, "With a woman like her, as long as she's not plotting your murder, what can't you forgive? Besides, she's so devoted to you." Indeed, I always believed Willow was faithful to me, but now, it seemed that was only what I believed. I said, "By the way, someone called you just now." Didn't say a word and hung up. "Maybe check who it was." She replied, "Probably just a spam call. Don't worry about it." Willow took the phone from me naturally. She slung the towel over her arm, bent down to pick up the laundry basket, and said, "I'll go wash the clothes on the balcony." Even though I tried my best to share the housework, Willow often complained that chores were endless. She'd say, for example, just doing laundry took her more than 2 hours every day. But later I noticed, even when there was only one piece of clothing, she still took that long, insisting on washing every single day. I used to think she was just overly clean, breaking one task into a dozen little ones. But now, it seemed there was another reason. After a while, Willow came back in. As she changed clothes, she said to me, "Honey, I need to go out for a bit. Something urgent came up. Don't wait for me tonight." I asked, "What happened?" She said, "Maria had a fight with her husband and is talking about divorce. She ran away from home. I don't know what's really going on, but I need to check on her. If it's too late, I'll just stay at her place tonight." I asked, "Is Sophia going with you?" She replied, "Yes." So convincing. Details, evidence, even a witness. I nodded and said, "Be safe." Chapter 03. Willow left in a hurry, but I stared at the wedding photo on the wall for a long time. I really couldn't understand. Why? Why would Willow cheat? And that man, who was he? His face, his transactions with Willow, those social media posts, they flashed through my mind one by one. Then suddenly, something clicked. I grabbed my phone immediately. I'd seen this man before. Chapter 04. It was about half a year ago. Willow had been assaulted and reported it to the police. She was giving her statement at the station when I rushed over. She seemed mostly fine, though her arm had several untreated scrapes, but she didn't seem to care at all. Her eyes were soft, shy, almost dreamy, like a young girl in love. To be honest, I hadn't seen that kind of expression on her face since her teenage years. When everything was settled, I was ready to take her home, but she walked up to a man in a uniform, thanking him repeatedly. If it weren't for you today, I don't even want to imagine what could have happened. I really appreciate it. I paused and looked at the man. He waved his hand and said, "Don't mention it. Just doing my job. Still, be careful when you're out. That area's full of shady people." Willow lowered her eyes and nodded gently. That day, to avoid any potential conflict, I had brought my buddy David along. When Willow went to the restroom, David teased me. "Don't you think that young guy looks a bit like you did when you were younger?" I thought he was talking nonsense, but I still glanced at the men a few times. Now, the image from that memory overlaps perfectly with the men in the photo. It was him. Chapter 05. Willow didn't come home all night. She returned the next evening. She brought back spicy beef offal from our favorite place. She said, "It's from the spot we always go to. I already ate, but I packed some for you. Go ahead and eat. I'm gonna shower." Okay. Willow went into the bathroom. I took the spare car key and went down to the underground garage. Her car had been cleaned, spotless. Nothing seemed out of place, but that wasn't what I cared about. What I wanted was the dashcam footage. I checked all the recordings from yesterday to today. Willow had driven to the university in the southern part of the city. She made a call and said just a few words. "I'm here." The men came out holding a bouquet of flowers and got into her car. Then came the sound of kissing, of heavy breathing. The men asked, "Did you let your husband touch you?" Willow replied, "Shut up." He pressed on. "Come on, did he?" Her trembling voice was soaked in desire. She gasped softly, "What do you think?" The men chuckled smugly, not talking. Don't beg for mercy later." The car's accelerating speed on the video made their urgency obvious. It stopped at a hotel near the university. The next footage appeared the following morning at 10 a.m. Only Willow was there. The video played quietly. I sat frozen inside my own car, my body stiff, muscles aching from tension. I reached to turn off the playback, then a phone rang in the recording. It was Sophia, Willow's best friend. She asked, "Where are you? Why aren't you here yet?" Willow replied, "On my way." Sophia said, "You're this late already. What were you doing? Don't tell me you went to see Makoto again." Willow hummed in response. Sophia sighed. "Seriously, you're actually doing this?" Willow chuckled softly. "What do you mean, actually? What's real? What's fake?" Sophia replied, "Oh please, don't play dumb. I thought you just had a crush on him, but now it's turning into a full-on affair. Weren't you head over heels for your husband? What happened? Why cheat all of a sudden?" The question seemed to stump Willow. After a long pause, she said quietly, "George is over 40 now." Sophia asked, "And?" Willow replied, "I don't know why, but ever since he turned 40, I feel disgusted whenever he touches me. If it weren't for the money, I would have divorced him long ago." Sigh. If only he could just give me the money and never come home. Chapter 06. How long has it been since Willow and I were intimate? I smoked a cigarette, thinking about it. It must have been around half a year ago. That was when work started getting busier. I was fighting for an important promotion, working overtime, burning the candle at both ends. Every day when I came home, all I wanted was sleep. Willow would come over in new lingerie, pressing herself against me, but I was too exhausted and pushed her away. I said, "Not now. I'm too tired. Next time." The first time, Willow didn't mind. She even felt sorry for me. The second time, she wasn't happy, but she held back her temper. The third time, she got angry and slammed the door on her way out. Later, I found her at a bar. I knew things couldn't go on like that. I held her in my arms and tried to make it up to her, but that attempt didn't end well. I was distracted, my mind occupied with the next day's meeting. Willow noticed too, and we ended things quickly. I felt helpless, not knowing how to fix it or how to comfort her, but she was the one who comforted me instead. She said it was her fault, that she was being too childish. She said, "Honey, don't overthink it. Okay, just take me on a trip when you're not busy." I thought everything was fine again. She still treated me well, even though she no longer fell asleep on my arm. Even though we hadn't been together in half a year, she was still kind to me. But now she says she feels disgusted when I touch her. That one sentence, ever since I heard it, just thinking about it chills me to the bone. My hand holding the cigarette kept trembling. The ash fell onto my skin, burning, but the pain was nothing compared to the wound that one sentence left. Chapter 07. Willow called me, asking where I was and why I hadn't come back yet. I said I'd gone downstairs to take out the trash and would be back soon. She hummed softly and said, "Then I'll go to bed first." When I got upstairs, Willow was already asleep, facing the left side, near the edge of the bed, leaving me plenty of space. I didn't lie down. I just sat at the edge of the bed. I watched her back all night. The year I met her, she was 18, just admitted to the city's university, a rebellious girl who secretly changed her college preference behind her parents' backs. And once she got the admission notice, she ran away from home with nothing but a backpack. Her brother was worried and asked me to help pick her up at the station. He said, "She's got no money, and the dorms aren't open yet. Could you let her stay with you for a while? She's stubborn, so if she gives you trouble, just teach her a lesson." I thought Dominic was insane. I was a grown man. How could I let a young girl live with me? I planned to rent her a place and be done with it, but she looked so pitiful, and she was so obedient. When I found her at the station, she was squatting under a tree, hugging her backpack like an abandoned kitten. She quietly followed me home. Before I could tell her to move out, she grabbed my sleeve and pleaded, "I'll be good. I'll cook for you and clean up. Just don't make me leave." I couldn't help but laugh, thought she was just saying it, but she really did it. Every day she cooked and kept the house spotless. Because of her, the once empty apartment finally felt alive. My daily routine stopped feeling so mechanical. We lived under the same roof for a month. Later, I bought her some luggage and sent her off to school. At first, I thought it was just a short encounter, but later she told me she had chosen that university because of me. She said she had seen me once when she was 16, and ever since then, all her hopes had been about me. That girl, when she was still a girl, had brought me her whole heart, and I fell for her. But now she's taking it back, and I have to claw my way out of the mire. Fast. Chapter 08. I'm going to file for divorce. What? I said. Willow cheated on me. He was stunned. What? Wasn't she supposed to be traveling with Maria to relax? I laughed. She went with her boyfriend. Early in the morning, my 3 short sentences completely knocked David out. He said, "Wait, hold on, let me get this straight. You're saying Willow cheated, and that trip she claimed was with her best friend was actually with her lover. How do you know?" I tossed my phone to David. On the screen was a new post from Makoto's WeChat moments earlier that morning. He was holding a suitcase in one hand, and Willow's hand in the other. The caption read, "We're running away together." Honestly, I had only added him on WeChat just to try my luck. Never expected he'd actually accept the request. Whether he realized the person adding him was me didn't matter. I told David, "Willow's gone for 3 days. Can I get the divorce papers ready by the time she's back?" David's face darkened. "I'll draft them myself." I nodded and reminded him, "Don't tell Sophia." David was Sophia's husband. I'd heard they went through a lot to be together. I only met him because of Willow. But somehow, after a few hangouts, we ended up becoming close friends. Fate is strange like that. Some people stay strangers all their lives. Others click instantly, as if they've known each other forever. He said, "I know. Don't worry." Actually, I asked, "What is it?" David hesitated, then shook his head. "It's nothing. We'll talk later. Are you okay? Want me to grab a few drinks with you?" I refused, forcing a bitter smile and sighing. "I've got a flight at 10. Business trip. That's the adult world for you. Even grief has to be scheduled." I gave David the photos I'd taken from Willow's phone, plus the security footage I'd backed up, and a full record of our shared assets. David worked fast. The afternoon I got back from the trip, the divorce papers were already ready. He said, "Even though she's the one at fault, it's impossible to make her walk away with nothing. But I'll fight to get you the best deal possible." I opened my mouth to speak, but David cut me off. "Don't act all magnanimous or pretend you're above it. No fake spiritual victory. She messed up, she pays. That includes any money she used to support her side guy. We'll reclaim every cent." I smiled faintly. "Of course, I never said I wouldn't." "David, thank you." He patted my shoulder lightly. "It's no big deal. It's just a divorce. You've got me." That night, David drank with me, one glass after another. We talked about the past, the future, our hopes, our regrets, until both of us got drunk and passed out on the carpet. The next morning, the alarm clock woke me up. I took the day off and got dressed. Even if I wasn't in the right state of mind, I still had to go. I was going to see Willow. Chapter 09. Thanks to Makoto's love for showing off, I managed to get first-hand access to their entire 3-day itinerary. They rode roller coasters, soaked in hot springs, even went bungee jumping. All things I'd never done with Willow. She loved thrills, that rush of adrenaline, but I've always been cautious, never one to take risks. She once begged me to go bungee jumping with her, the tandem kind. She said it would be romantic. She even wanted to take our wedding photos that way. But after thinking about it for a long time, I still refused. Willow said it was fine, but I knew she was disappointed. Looking back, Willow and I were never really compatible. When we were blinded by love, we used to say that love conquers all obstacles. Now, it's clear, someone was lying. When Willow walked out, she brushed a strand of hair behind her ear and smiled softly. Beside her, Makoto had his arm around her shoulders, talking non-stop. Their steps were light, they looked every bit the loving couple. Makoto was saying, "Next time on your birthday, let's go there again. Okay, it'll be our first one together." Willow. I raised my hand and called out, my voice firm and loud. Makoto didn't hear me at first and kept talking, but Willow froze. She pushed Makoto away abruptly and turned toward me in panic. For a split second, I thought she saw me as some kind of monster. Makoto looked startled too, standing there dumbfounded, wanting to say something but stopping himself. Willow quickly composed herself. She whispered to Makoto, "You should go." Makoto turned sharply to her, frowning, eyes filled with reluctance. He didn't want to leave, so I played the nice guy. I said, "Come on, let's all go together. It's hard to get a cab around here anyway." Willow pressed her lips together and snapped, "Just go already." Makoto hesitated, unsure what to do. My face darkened. I spoke slowly, each word deliberate. I said, "Together." Makoto was interesting. Most people in his position would have run for their lives, but he actually followed. I walked in front. Willow trailed behind me. Makoto followed her. When Willow opened the passenger door, intending to sit there, I stopped her. I said, "There's something there. Sit in the back. You're such a hospitable person. Can't possibly let our guests sit alone, right?" Willow looked at me, biting her lower lip, eyes brimming with suppressed emotion. She let out a dry laugh, slammed the door shut, and got into the back seat. The air inside the car was suffocating. I broke the silence first. I said, "Mr. Ito, Willow and I need to talk. Do you want to come along? Or should I drop you off at school first?" Suddenly being addressed, Makoto froze, completely at a loss. He stammered awkwardly. I. Willow snapped sharply, "What exactly do you want?" Through the rearview mirror I glanced at her. Her expression was openly displeased, angry, trying to hide her panic. I, on the other hand, felt a certain satisfaction. My smile widened. I asked, "Mr. Ito, what do you study?" His voice came out rough. "German." I was a little surprised. "The same as me. I have a classmate who's a professor at your school." I named him and asked, "Do you know him?" Makoto's face changed. His voice went weak. "Yes, he's my homeroom teacher." I laughed aloud. What a coincidence. In the end I sent Makoto back to school. When he got out of the car he looked sheepish and didn't bother to look back. I asked Willow, "Where do you two usually go to get a room?" "I've got time today. Want to go have a look together?" Willow kept her eyes fixed on me. She bit her lip and said, word by word, "What do you actually want?" I smoothed the expression from my face, gripped her chin, and said, "Of course, to disgust you. Now, let's talk about the divorce." Chapter 10. Inside the car, Willow kept her lips pressed together and said nothing. From the moment I mentioned divorce until now, she hadn't uttered a single word. I stayed silent too. After all the deliberate provocations, the satisfaction had faded. While I was trying to disgust her, wasn't I also disgusted with myself? I pulled a cigarette from my pocket and lit it. She asked, "How long has it been?" Her voice trembled slightly. I asked, "What do you mean?" She said, "You, smoking again. How long has it been?" I'm 10 years older than Willow. When she was still in college, I was already working. Back then, work pressure was crushing. And that's when I picked up smoking. Willow was the one who forced me to quit. She said, "It's bad for your health." She said, "I'll buy you candy instead." She said, "Or you can eat me. Just don't smoke anymore." And somehow, I really did quit, never touched another cigarette. Until now. 10 years later, because of all this, I relapsed. If she wanted a specific time. I thought for a moment and said, "The morning after you and Makoto didn't come home that night." The cigarette slipped from my fingers and landed on the leather seat, burning a small hole instantly. Willow panicked, pulling tissues from her bag, trying to wipe it away, but it was too late. Still, she kept wiping, again and again, until her emotions cracked completely. She threw her bag hard against the door and shouted, "I can't fix this anymore, can I? You'll never forgive me, right?" I nodded, "Right." She took a deep breath and held out her hand. The divorce papers. She didn't even glance at what was written on them. She flipped to the last page and signed her name. She said, "I won't go back to that house. I'll find time to move my things out." Then she got out of the car, leaning against the door. She spoke into her phone. "Come out. I'm not staying at school tonight." "Yeah, I'm waiting at the gate." After hanging up, she shot me a cold look and sneered, "When you're ready to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau, call me." Chapter 11. David asked. Do you feel like you're punching a pillow? That powerless, suffocating feeling. She's doing it on purpose. I pulled at the corner of my mouth and downed my drink in one gulp. I know, I said. Maybe at first I hadn't realized it, but by now, I'd tasted the truth. Willow had always been a fiercely proud person. Her attitude toward people and things was, I'm not wrong, and even if I am, so what? I knew her. I'd already imagined how she would react. And yet, even being prepared, her casual indifference still stung. My hand holding the glass trembled. I said, I thought at least she'd say, I'm sorry. We all want the person who hurt us to show genuine remorse. As if only then could our wounds be soothed. Otherwise, it feels unbearable. From her 18th year to her 31st, 13 years. Those were my 13 years too. I'd gone from being an outsider to being dragged deep inside. She was the one who pulled me in. When she loved me, she fed me honey. When she stopped, she cut me to pieces. She owed me an apology. The repeated grind of negative emotions made me lose control. I took 2 days off, stayed home, went nowhere. I cursed, I broke down, and at last, I calmed down, because of a phone call from my boss. He said there was a change in the data in a contract and I needed to revise it quickly. I opened my laptop and got to work. 2 hours later, I sent him the updated contract. He said, President Ning will be visiting next Wednesday. You'll come with me. Okay, I replied. After finishing everything, I sat back on the sofa, suddenly blank. Was it really that painful? Willow had been my own choice. No one forced me, no one threatened me. So everything that followed, I should, profit or loss, bear myself. If I had gambled, I should be ready to lose. So, George, can't you take the loss? No, I can. Chapter 12. On the 4th day after signing the divorce papers, I called Willow. She took a long time to answer. Her voice was cold and distant. What do you want? I made a small sound of acknowledgement, then asked, Are you free tomorrow? Let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end. Then she said, I'm out of town. We'll talk when I'm back in a few days. I asked, How many days? She replied, Not sure. Willow, I said, emphasizing each word. I need a date. You have to give me a time. I told you. I don't know. Her voice rose, tinged with irritation. I already signed the divorce papers. What? Are you afraid I'll run away? I said calmly, 2 days. What? I'll give you 2 days, I said. If you show up at the Civil Affairs Bureau the day after tomorrow, I'll let you keep a bit of dignity. If not, I'll tell everyone you cheated. The line went dead the moment I finished. I could imagine how furious Willow must have been. Probably threw her phone against the wall. I didn't care whether she was really out of town or just making excuses. All I cared about was getting this over with as soon as possible. But to my surprise, the next evening, Willow actually showed up at my door. I asked, What are you doing here? She said, I have something to ask you. What is it? Willow looked at me, then let out a sarcastic little laugh. What? I'm not even allowed to come inside now. Her mocking tone made me frown. I asked, What exactly do you want to say? Willow crossed her arms, sneering. George, you've gone too far. No matter what happened, this is between us. You're a grown man. Shouldn't you stop picking on a student? I asked, What are you talking about? Don't deny it, she said, her eyes sharp with sarcasm. You're telling me Makoto losing his scholarship had nothing to do with you? Makoto? Who? A deep voice suddenly came from behind me. Willow froze. Brother. Dominic stepped out from behind me, his face expressionless as he stared at Willow. Who is Makoto? He asked coldly. Willow looked from him to me and back again. What are you doing here? She asked. I should be asking you, Dominic said. Who is Makoto? She shot back. It's none of your business. Dominic frowned. You can tell me yourself, or I can find out on my own. Willow pressed her lips into a thin line. Refusing to speak, I rubbed my temples. Enough, I said. Go inside. I'll talk to her. Dominic seemed about to say something, but I cut him off. This is between me and Willow, I said firmly. The two of them locked eyes for a long moment before Dominic finally turned and went back into the room. I looked at Willow and let out a slow, heavy breath. About Makoto, I said. I have no idea what you're talking about, but if you had half a brain, you'd know better than to come here accusing me. If I really wanted to ruin him, those photos of you two sneaking around, the hotel records, I could have gotten him expelled. What's in your head? Sawdust. The next second, Dominic's shocked voice came from behind me. Cheating. Hotel. Divorce. You cheated. You two are getting divorced. I turned toward him, speechless. Do you have to eavesdrop? Dominic ignored me. His gaze was fixed coldly on Willow. Answer me, he barked. Willow let out a sharp, derisive laugh. This is between me and him. None of your business. None of my business. Before she could react, Dominic's hand swung across her face, hard. Have you no damn shame? Willow was never the type to take a beating quietly. Even when she was clearly in the wrong, she'd still fight tooth and nail. As the two of them began to struggle and shout, I expressionlessly closed the door, shutting them both out. I didn't know when they stopped fighting, nor when they finally left. The next morning, at 8 sharp, I arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau, took a number, waited for Willow. About 10 minutes later, she showed up. She sat beside me in silence, the red mark on her cheek still visible, her face pale and spiritless. Soon enough, our number was called. I stood, but Willow suddenly grabbed my sleeve. Her voice trembled. That day, I lied. I didn't go to see him. We're done. He called me to say his scholarship was cancelled. I knew it wasn't you. I was just happy, because it gave me an excuse to come see you. I never wanted a divorce. I never once thought about leaving you. Her voice grew weaker, almost choking with tears. I'd never been good at handling Willow's tears. Back then, I'd fallen for her because her eyes turned red for me. But now, I said, Willow, you're crying. Honestly, it disgusts me. Her grip on my sleeve tightened sharply. She froze for a long moment, then looked up blankly. What did you just say? I pried her hand off, tore the paper in my hand to pieces, and took another number. I said, the truth is, since this all started, we've never really sat down to talk. You never even asked how I found out about your affair, or what I knew. I looked straight at her. Let's lay it all out. Half a year ago, our marriage started to fall apart. You were unhappy. Then you met Makoto at a nightclub. Maybe he reminded you a little of the man I used to be, or maybe it was just his youth and energy, but whatever it was, you couldn't control yourself, and you cheated. Cheating is wrong no matter how you dress it up. But to ease your guilt, you started blaming me. You said that ever since I turned 40, every time I touched you, it made your skin crawl, that you'd rather I just give you money and stay away. You said the late nights at work and the gray in my hair made me look like a shedding old dog, and that you could smell the stench of age on me from across the room. Willow, I said quietly, when you used those cutting, venomous words to describe me, did you ever stop to think how disgusting you looked in my eyes? I went on, my voice steady but cold. You're basically saying you were forced to sell your body for money, pinching your nose and pretending to enjoy it. That's what our more than 10 years together boils down to in your eyes, a buyer and a seller. I gave a bitter laugh. I started doubting myself. Just how blind was I to step into a pile of dog shit? And now the dog shit sticks to my shoe, but still has the gall to complain my shoe stinks. Chapter 13. By the time I tore up our last shred of dignity, there was nothing left to say. The divorce process went smoothly. No entanglement, no arguments. The clerk reminded us to come back in a month to collect the certificate. I nodded. Willow had already stood up to leave. I called out, when will you come to pack your things? Without turning her head, she said, throw them away. Of course, I couldn't do that. In the end, Dominic came over and packed everything himself. After cleaning up, he cooked a meal and opened a bottle of wine. He asked, drink with me. I didn't refuse. Dominic drank fast, gulping down the first glass. He twisted his mouth into a half smile and said, I didn't know my sister would ever do something like that. If I'd known. I chuckled and shook my head. Even if you'd known. So what? Would you have stopped us at the very beginning? Cut off this doomed connection at its root? Regret like that means nothing now, I said. Back then, both our families were against us being together. I still remember what Willow told me once. She said, I don't know if I'll regret it someday, being with him, but I know if I don't, I'll regret it right now. Dominic asked quietly, is that why you made up your mind? I shook my head. No, it's just, that's exactly how I felt too. I downed my drink and said, thinking about it now, I was much braver and purer in my 20s. Back then, I could ignore what others thought. I could give everything to someone without calculating the cost. I believed sincerity could always be exchanged for sincerity, but now, I don't dare to bet anymore. I'm not even sure if I want to start again. George, Dominic's eyes softened with something between pity and guilt. I gave him a faint, easy smile. Don't worry, I just suddenly figured it out. Love comes with thunder and leaves like a storm. It's a matter of the heart, and the heart always changes. But that's fine. People die from illness. People die from poverty. But I've never heard of anyone dying because they lost love. Maybe I was a little drunk. And because Dominic was an old friend. I rambled on for quite a while. He stayed quiet, just listening, never interrupting once. When I woke up the next morning, he was gone. He'd left a note on the table. He said he had a flight to catch and didn't want to wake me. He wrote that he'd figured a lot of things out, and that he'd met a really good girl. When he got back, he planned to be with her. At the bottom, it read simply, George, take care. Chapter 14. Because of the divorce, my mind had been scattered for a while. But work pulled it back together quickly. The endless tasks left me no spare time for self-pity. And that in itself soothed me. I hadn't thought about Willow for a long time, until Sophia called me. George, I know I shouldn't be contacting you, but Willow's been hospitalized twice in the past 2 weeks for alcohol poisoning. I really can't stop her. You're the only one who can talk to her. George, she knows she was wrong. Sophia probably didn't actually expect me to agree. So when she saw me walk into the hospital, she was stunned. She quickly stood up and gave me her seat. She said, I drank a bit too much yesterday too. You two talk first. I'll go home and catch up on some sleep. I looked at her, puzzled. I thought you told David you were pregnant. Why are you still drinking? Sophia's face went pale. She waved her hand awkwardly and left without looking back. I turned back and found Willow staring blankly at me. When our eyes met, she quickly looked away. Willow, I started, but she cut me off urgently. My arm hurts. She blurted, the left one. Every time it rains, it aches so bad. That year we couldn't see each other for months. I told you my dad had me grounded, but actually, I was in the hospital. He broke my arm. I never told you. I didn't want you to worry. I asked quietly. Why tell me now? Willow lifted her head, her eyes searching mine carefully. I tugged at the corner of my mouth, half a smile. Honestly, this isn't the right time to bring it up. If you'd told me back then, I would have been heartbroken and guilty, but now. Willow, that was your choice. You chose to sacrifice yourself to be with the person you loved. Good or bad, you had to bear it. Just like me, I chose someone who cheated. Good or bad, I had to bear it. The hopeful light in Willow's eyes dimmed. She turned her face away. You won't even give me a chance, she said quietly. Then why did you even come? I looked down at her. I came to tell you, don't destroy yourself, and don't delay picking up the official divorce certificate in 2 weeks. Willow, I want a divorce, not a funeral. Willow's voice rose. You hate me that much? I turned to leave. Without looking back, I said, if the roles were reversed, wouldn't you want to kill me too? Chapter 15. I walked away cleanly. Sophia was clearly frustrated. She said, annoyed. I went out of my way to call you here. Can't you at least talk properly? Willow replied coldly. Stay out of it. Even if I die, don't call her again. Sophia shook her head. Later. There is no later. If you really want to fix this, why are you still acting out? I never understood. You're always so sensible with everyone else, but the moment you're in front of George, you act like a child who never grew up. Willow turned her head to the window and said nothing. She didn't know either. She wanted to talk properly. She even wanted to lower her pride. But whenever she faced George, that strange feeling of grievance rose up. She was the one in the wrong, yet she felt wronged. As if George should still keep forgiving her, no matter what she did. Without asking for anything in return, Willow was panicking. From the moment she saw George at the airport, her heart had been in chaos. Part of her was desperate to do something, anything. Another part of her was already numb, knowing nothing would help. George would never forgive her. Cheating with Makoto was wrong. After making that mistake, she tried to cover it up. So when Sophia exposed it all, she'd felt humiliated and furious, and in her anger, she lashed out with sharp, cutting words, and immediately regretted it. She warned Sophia again and again not to repeat what she'd said. She was even afraid to face George, ashamed, feeling she had no ground to stand on. Willow knew this broken relationship being thrown away was only natural, but still, she was terrified. Makoto had come to her more than once. He'd said, anxious and angry, I got a court summons, they're making me pay back the money. Why? That money came from you. How can he demand it back? When Willow heard the news, she actually found it a little funny. George had always been like that, petty, vengeful, never forgetting a slight. If Makoto hadn't stirred up trouble first, George probably wouldn't have even bothered to recall that money. Just like George once said, if I really wanted to ruin him, I could have gotten him expelled. But Makoto, foolishly, still wanted to be with Willow. He thought that since she was getting divorced, he could now be with her openly, without shame. What he didn't know was, Willow could be with anyone, except him. Makoto was the living proof of her reckless, sordid past, the embodiment of everything she wanted to erase. And people don't keep their stains close by, they scrub them off. Makoto had spent part of the money already. He wanted Willow to help him fill the hole, but Willow hadn't received much from the divorce. How could she possibly help him? So she refused him, and warned him, if he came to her again, she'd be the one collecting the debt next time. Makoto stormed off, furious. Before leaving, he slapped her hard across the face, and called her filthy. Willow didn't resist. She accepted it, both the slap and the insult. After being discharged from the hospital, she found a job at a laundromat. She threw herself into the work, using exhaustion as her anesthetic, until the day of her execution came, the day she was to finalize the divorce. She didn't delay, didn't back out. Obediently, she went with George to collect the certificate. George looked good, Still composed, confident, sharp as ever, Willow watched him as he turned to leave. Then suddenly, he looked back. "Willow," he said, "how about saying sorry?" Her hands trembled at her sides. She opened her mouth, but the word just wouldn't come out. George's expression dimmed with disappointment. He turned away and started walking. Then, in a rush, Willow stepped forward. "George." "I'm sorry," she said. George stopped in his tracks. He raised a hand in a casual wave, and strode off without looking back. This time, his departing figure looked lighter, as if he'd finally set everything down.